start the recording.
Okay, I have to restart or
Just the initial statement and then continue.
okay, fine. I was asked to say start it again once again. Okay, fine. Okay, very briefly, let's take an overview of what we are going to do today. We will just very briefly discuss what actually is the problem and what is the decision making. What is the problem? Fine, thank you. Okay. Okay, as it is said that it's the problem solving and decision making. So these are seems like the similar topic. Okay, but okay, it's apparently look like two different topics: problem solving and decision making, and it is indeed two different topics. One is the problem, another is the decision making. So what we need to do is, or what we will do today, we will focus on two different aspects. One is the problem and other is the decision. We will see what, okay, we will see what is actually the problem, what is actually the decision, what are the different types of problem that we have or we may have, what are the different types of decision that we will be making, what is the environment that we are facing a problem in, that we are making the decisions. We will start from this aspect, and then we will go to the methodologies or the process of a problem solving method. Okay, let me very quickly show you this, the outline of today's presentation. We will see what is the mindset. We will discuss a little bit what is meant by that. Then what is a problem? What are the different types of problem? Then what is actually the problem solving? What are the types of a problem solving? One is analytical, another is creative. And then we will discuss what is the decisions, what are the different types of decisions, and then the environment in which decision has to be made, or then there is a relationship between decision making, decision and the problems. What is this? We will see what is it all about. Then we have two types of decision making. One is individual decision making, and then other is the group decision making. We will see the similarities and the differences between these two. And then we will see two types of authority versus delegation. What need to be done in order to make a proper decision. And then we will focus a little bit in say what about the thinking. What are the different types of thinking? There are three, say, sort of the comparison that we are making here. One is the convergent thinking and the divergent thinking. Other is the deductive and inductive. And the third one is the vertical versus lateral thinking. And then we will, it will be followed with the different models of decision making. The problem-solving decision-making model is the 7-step model, which is the unified model. Then we have the PACE model, then we have the ideal model, and then we have the decide model, and we will see what these models is all about. And then we will have certain decision-making tools that we will look into. That is, what is the root cause analysis, what is the 5 why technique, then cause and effect diagram, force field analysis, six thinking hat, and the decision tree, and we have the data-driven decision making. Apart from that, I was also asked to use an Excel to give you certain, say, indication that how Excel can be used to make some sort of decision, or how Excel is used in helping in making some sort of decision as a helping hand towards the decision. Okay, let's formally start our presentation today. Okay, first of all, what actually we meant by the mindset. Okay, mindset is actually reflecting an attitude of the person that some may find something which is not of any interest, or say it is not a problem for me, but some says, for example, look at this pen drive, right? If I throw it away, so it for me or for someone that may not be a problem, right? But for someone, they feel that it is a problem, right? So we need to identify, we need to see that whether it is a problem or it is not a problem, right? So that is actually what we meant by the mindset. We need to recognize one thing, that we are facing something and it say, what I say that it causes some discomfort in me. When it is the case, and we will realize that it is a problem. When it does not say discomfort us or cause any issue to us, that it is not a problem. So that is very, very important. For example, there is another problem. Say, pollution is a huge problem, right? We cannot do anything about that problem. It's a huge problem. So there is another very important aspect that you need to look into, that it is in the circle of influence of ourselves. If it is the case that it may be a problem for us, we cannot do anything, or say I cannot solve a problem of the pollution. But what I can do is, if I feel that it is a problem for me, then what can I do? That I use certain strategies. I can do something to resolve the problem. That I will not use the shopper bags. I will not use the plastic bags. I will clean them as properly, and something like this. So that we need to understand. That problem, we need to recognize that it causes something. It causes some discomfort to us. If that is the case, then we realize that it is a problem. If it is not the case, then it may not be a problem, right? So that is what we meant by the problem. So if we recognize that there is a problem exists, then what we need to look into the scope of that problem. Scope means that whether it is a solvable problem or it is an insoluble problem. The problem is always solvable, but the thing is that whether you have the right, or you have the ability, or you have the resources available to solve this problem, right? Then we know the parameters of the problem, what actually are the part and parcel of the problem, what constitute the problem. That we need. And then the last thing is to know your area of influence. That is what is very, very important. If it is outside of my domain, if it is outside of my area, maybe I'm working, say, maybe in a computer science department, and someone comes to me that there is a problem in the business administration department. So, okay, there's a problem in the business administration problem. It has no concern to me because I'm in computer science department. If that problem causes harm to me, causes discomfort to me, that may be a problem. That then I realize that myself that it has to do something with my area. If that is the case, then we think that it is a problem and it has to be resolved, right? So that is what is meant by the mindset. You need to have that mindset in realizing a particular problem that it exists. Okay, fine. So let's discuss or try to define what is a problem. Problem can be anything that causes discomfort. It can be, okay, if you look at this equation, problem is equal to want. It is the difference between want or have. What I have right now and what I want, the difference is actually the problem. What I want to achieve, but I'm unable to achieve that. So that is, for me, is a problem. Another way of looking at the problem is that the planned versus actual. The actual scenario that right now that exists and what we actually planned at this particular point of time, I should be able to achieve that, but it is not the case. If that is the thing, then it is a problem for me. Another way that we can look into the problem, that it's a perceived gap between the existing state and a desired state. Again, if you look at the previous one, planned versus actual, that is the same thing. It may be a situation that needs some sort of attention, right? It may be a certain sort of situation that invites a resolution, or it may be considered a challenge or an opportunity. All come as a problem. Problem can be anything. It is a simple problem, it is a complex problem, or it can be anything, small or large, that causes something of discomfort to us. That is actually the problem. If you, there are different types of problems that we come across, and Herbert Simon is one of the very leading computer scientists, have identified two broad categories of the problems. According to him, that the problem can be a structured problem, or another is the unstructured problem. And the third category that we have actually identified, and that is the semi-structured problem, and that is the category which we face day-to-day basis. Now, what actually the structured problem means? The structured problem is the rule-based problem. The structured problem is the routine problem that we are facing. Right? Normally, in different websites, you may find a web page titled as FAQ, the frequently asked questions. So these are the normal questions that we are facing, and we need to answer this question. We already knew what should be the answer, what should be the solution to this problem. It is all written somewhere. It may be in SOPs, standard operating procedure, that if such sort of a problem occurs, we follow this sort of a routine. That is what we mean by the structured problem. On the other extreme, we have the unstructured problem, and that problem occurs from nowhere. It may be a strategic problem that we want to do something, that we want to expand our business. We want to launch another product, and that is something that is unstructured, totally unstructured. There is no written thing available. There is no rules available as far as unstructured problems are concerned. We need to look into that, what actually the objective, and we will try to do something in order to resolve this problem. In the unstructured problem solution, we need to be intuitive, we need to be imaginative, we need to be creative to look at the problem and to come up with the solution of this sort of the problem. If types of problems in the management hierarchy. The managerial activities that normally we perform, if the first one is the strategic planning, this is comes under the unstructured problem area. It is strategic planning which involves long-range goals and resources allocation policies. Again, I said its impact is very, very large, it's long-term, and it has a huge impact on the business. And then on the other hand, we have operational control. Operational control is the structured problem area where we look into that the daily problems that we are facing, and we exactly know what to do in those sort of happening, the events that we are facing. On the other side, we have the semi-structured problem. The semi-structured problems, they are partly based on certain rules, and there are certain things that we need to look into, and we will decide on our own how to handle this problem. The example of this particular the semi-structured problem is that, for example, in the sales department, the sales team given a certain cushion for, say, discount given to the customers. For example, it is said that it is the 15% that you can maximum give to a customer. But the objective should be that we should not give any discount to the a customer. But if the customer insists that we should, they should be given certain discounts. So the limit is 15%. We cannot go beyond that. So it is written somewhere else. So that we need to decide, and we need to assess the situation that how much we can give discount to our customers. So that is what is meant by the semi-structured problems and the semi-structured decision. So there is another interesting aspect that we need to look at. That is the personality that we have. We need to look into that how we can solve our problem, how we actually approach to our problems. You normally think in our offices, whenever there is a problem, either we try to solve our problem by our own, or we seek certain help of our colleagues. So that you need, and I have gone through one of the books, and they have identified that there are 3 different types of problem solvers. So that is actually the way we approach it. One is known as the independents. These are the people that look at a problem and solve it on their own right way. They are creative. They know what is the problem. They know what are the causes of their problem. They use their knowledge and they come up with a solution. And that is independent. They don't seek help of anyone else apart from their knowledge. Then the thinker. These are the people that think critically about any situation before making any. They are the interesting people, and they are the critical thinkers. They think of the problem in a different way, the novel way. There are problems and there are solutions, and the solutions there are many. Okay, and they think out of the box. They come up with different solutions. They are the thinkers, and the people like me and the people like Hamza, they are the askers. When they come up, they face some sort of problem, they always seek help and the guidance of the people around us. and they say what is actually the right way of doing that problem. So these are the three sort of the people that we know, and they exist around us, right? And you may have experience of people like this, and you need to identify your type of a problem solver. So you may be an independent thinker, independent problem solver. You may be a thinker, and you may be the asker, right? The best one is the thinker. The second one is the independence, and the third one, the people like me, which is at the first, and that is the asker. Okay. Okay, the house I was smiling, right? So it's okay, fine. Now we know what is the problem, and I hope you already knew what is actually the problem. Now the problem solving is the application of the idea, skill, or the factual information to achieve the solution, to perform, or to reach a desired outcome. Now, problem solving, okay, we have all experiences. We study many books. We have experience, we have knowledge, we have different type of knowledge. And we will try to apply these knowledge in order to say, for example, a few weeks ago, my kid came up with a mathematical problem, right? And he was unable to understand that what actually is the case. So since I have studied that concept and I have applied that concept, because I have the knowledge, I have the clarity that how to approach this problem, what theory that is being applied on that particular problem, and then eventually I come up with the solution. So if I go back a little bit, when my kid was in kindergarten, they again asked the question how to sum up two numbers. So 2 plus 2 is the answer should be 4. So why not 22? So that is again a very interesting problem. And at the kindergarten level, they asked me that question. And I can solve 2 plus 2, and I can discuss that question. I can make them realize that how we can add 2 plus 2. But it is very difficult for me to make him understand that how 2 plus 2 becomes 22. But if it is a mathematical problem, there is no problem. We know how we can add two numbers and come up with an answer. That is the theory, that is the methodology, that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. There is also a methodology that 2 plus 2 is equal to 22. And in the area of computer science and information technology, we can add 2 plus 2 that makes 22. And that the process is known as concatenation. So we know what is meant by concatenation. If we take number as strings and we combine them together to make it 22, that is what is concatenation. We can simply say that. There is a third dimension that we can add to the same problem, and that is why 2 plus 2 is said to be 22. It may be say that if you add 2 plus 2, that makes 22. It's a synergistic effect. If maybe if I'm working alone, and if someone come along with me, helping me out, and the output will be increased. It is something that happens to the quality of the decision making. That adding knowledge of my colleague that who is helping me and came to me in order to solve a particular problem or to perform a particular task. That is what is meant by the 2 plus 2 is equal to 22. That is the synergistic. There are three things that we can look into. One is the rule-based, one is the knowledge-based, and the third one is the psychological base. That is what is problem solving is all about. So we need to apply our knowledge, we need to generate certain ideas, we need to apply our skills to not only to identify the problems, but to reach the desired outcome, which is the solution. Okay, now there are different types of problems that we come across, and we can categorize problems into two different types. One is the analytical problem, and the second one is the creative problem. Analytical problem is normally we all do. One of my sessions with ACCA that is on the analysis, data analysis. We have the data with us, and we need to look into the data to see what it means. So in order to identify or to assign meaning to that data is what is meant by analytical problem solving. Maybe the meaning of the data is buried, is hidden in the data. When we organize that, we will summarize, we will categorize, and obviously different patterns will come up. And that will give you a certain insight that what data is all about. And on the basis of this insight, we come up with either the problem or the solution, that this is the problem or this is the solution. So that is what is meant by analysis. The analytical problem is the diagnostic problem. For example, again, we all go to the doctor when we have a problem, right? And what doctor does, he asks questions, right? Why he asks questions? For a very simple reason, he will try to identify what actually the disease or the problem that we are having. Once he identified that problem or the disease that we are having, and then he come up with the prescription, right? Another thing is the deviation from actual or expected. So maybe we have planned for something that we will have this thing, say maybe 1 year down the road, but we are unable to achieve that. So after 1 year, we won't be able to get the thing that we are expected for. So if there is a deviation from actual to expected, we will try to identify that what actually happened, that we are unable to achieve our goal in the due course of time. So we need to look into that why it happened and how we can rectify it, and in future why it should not happen. The third thing is the cause that is unknown. There are many issues, and in the due course of this presentation, we may find that we are facing a problem, but we are unable to identify what actually is the cause. And there are certain techniques by which we can try. We will be able to identify what actually is the actual cause of that problem. There are certain tools available, and we will discuss some of these today as well. And there are certain unexplained phenomena that might occur around us, and we will try to identify that why this happened. We will try to provide explanation that what causes that unexplained phenomena. In the computer science or in the IT world, we develop some sort of a software, and it's not behaved the way we are expected. And there's something is going on somewhere within the logic of the problem, and then we will try to identify what actually is behind us. A very famous example of the virus program that we all know what is it. But initially in, say, 86, around 86, 1986, 85, when I first faced that virus program, it's a very interesting, a very simple virus. It causes my characters to, say, go down bit by bit. There's a small ball that moving around my screen, they touch any character and then move somewhere else. That was an unexplained phenomenon for me. And I was very, very curious at what actually is happening on my screen, on my computer. But actually, when I will try, I try to explore it, and then eventually I find out that is a very small program that is known as a virus, and that causes something. So that is actually what actually I did. I analyzed the situation and then come up with the cause or the event that is happening like this. And then we have another type of problem solving that is the creative approach, the imaginative approach, the intuitive approach. We know that this is the problem, and we will try to solve this problem in a variety of ways, in a different ways. We come up with a novel idea. We think in a different way. We will think out of the box. There are certain techniques we will discuss a bit later, that how we can generate different ideas, which is novel, which is new, and that will give us an indication that is there are different ways of handling the problem. Then we have designing new innovations. We all know that as the time passes by, we have innovations all around us. We have computers, we have laptops, we have palm tops, we have this, we have that. The technology is going on. We have things, the new things around us. Our lifestyle is changed. Our thinking has been changed, and it is all about the innovations. That how we can innovatively solve that particular problem, and there might be a process that demand an improvement. The BPR, business process engineering, you might have heard this term. When we have to look into the different processes and we need to improve this process, and we may have a new idea that we need to generate, that we need to create in order to solve a problem that causes discomfort to us. Okay, fine. Now come to the decision making. We know what is problem now. Now, in order to resolve an issue, we need to make some sort of a decision. Decisions are the choices that we have to solve a particular problem. We may have one problem, but we may have multiple solutions to that particular problem. In the area of operational research, there is a technique known as optimization. We may have one problem. We may have different solutions to the problem. We need to evaluate all those solutions, and then we will try to come up with the most excellent solution, the optimal solution, right? So we need to select the choices. The selection is the decision. Problem solving, that will provide you the identification of the problem and will give you certain indication that what is the solution to this problem. But in decision making, you need to decide among the choices that what actually is the optimal solution. So that is the selection. Maybe say I need to take this, for example, a cup of tea. I need to sip one. I can take this. The problem is that I need to take tea. I can take this by a cup. I can take this by a spoon. I can put that in a glass. So I have three different alternatives to that problem. The best one is right now in front of me, that tea is in the cup, and I should have this, and this is the optimal solution. So if I opt for the tea, to take tea with the spoon, it will take a longer time, and the tea will be cold, isn't it? Is that? Okay, fine. So the problem solving provides you solutions, identifications of the problems and the solutions, whereas the decisions are the selection among the solutions with the choices, which one is the best one. Okay, so we'll try what is the decision. It is a conclusion or the resolution reached after consideration. So the consideration is that we have 2-3 solutions. We will evaluate these solutions. We will analyze those solutions, right? We will look this solution from different perspectives and come up with the best solution, right? And that will be our conclusion. Then we have the action or process of deciding something, of resolving a question. So we may have a question is a problem, and we have to approach in a different way, and we have different answers to the same questions, right? We often said that the coin has two sides. Every question that we have, there are certain pros, there are certain cons. There are certain advantages, there are certain disadvantages. And we need to look into all these pros and cons. And we need to analyze these pros and cons to our that will provide us the guidance for the optimal solution. And the third one is the act of making up one mind. Sometimes we make up our mind to do this thing and to solve the problem in that way, and normally we do it that way. Then a choice that you make about something after thinking about several possibilities. So again, we have multiple solutions. We have a variety of solutions available to us, and we need to select what is the solution, what is the best solution. Then we have the different types of decisions. We already have discussed the different types of the problems. The types of the problem is program, structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. So similarly, if the problem is structured, we have the programmed decisions. If the problem is unstructured, we have the unprogrammed solution. And if we have the semi-structured problem, then we have the semi-programmed decisions. The program means that we exactly know that what should we need to decide in order to do this problem, because it is a routine type problem, it is a structured problem. If it is a unprogrammed decision that we need to make, and we then again we are facing unstructured problem. So there is a synchronization between structured problem and programmed decisions. There is a semi-structured problems and semi-programmed decisions, and similarly, the unstructured problems and unprogrammed solutions. Now, here comes the tricky part. And actually, our presentation is now started from here. That is the background, that is the whole, that what is actually the problem, solutions, and the decisions. Now, environment is very important. It is the environment that makes your decisions programmed, unprogrammed, or semi-programmed. When environment is very certain, we know the growth rate is of a particular problem is of this product is this. We follow a particular predefined pattern, and we follow the instructions the way it should be. We follow a particular standard operating procedure in order to handle such sort of problems. Then there is a risk element associated with the problem. Here we will associate some sort of a probability that what will be the probability of this particular decision that it will solve our problem, or what will be the probability that this problem, this decision will not solve our problem. So we will try to look into that how risk element that is associated to the problem and how we can resolve such sort of risk assessment in order to come up with the decisions which are more quality decisions and which can yield the better results. And there are certain decisions in which the environment is uncertain, so we are unsure what will happen. There is a risk element, there is some sort of a predictability that is associated with the risk that it may happen or it may not happen. But in the uncertain, we are totally unaware that what will happen. It may happen, it may not happen, we are unsure. So there are three things: the certainty, we exactly know what will happen. There is uncertainty, we exactly know, we think, not exactly know, but we know one thing, that it may be the case or it may not be the case. But there's something that is risk associated to some problem. In that case, we calculate, we can determine that what will happen to that particular decision that we will be making in order to produce some sort of the desired results, the desired outcomes. So this is the summary of the problem versus decisions. If you look at, we have on the left-hand side, we have the problems that is structured. One is the semi-structured, the unstructured, similarly this, and this is the decisions environment that we will be making. Okay. There is a myth, and that is whenever we have a problem, then it is associated with the solution. It's a decision. But make it sure problem is not that decision. Problem is something that is there which harm us, which causes something of discomfort, and we need to resolve that issue, and that is a decision. There is a process of problem solving. Identification of a problem is a decision. How to approach to that problem, that is a solution. The selection is the decision, right? So we make decision at each step of the problem solving process, and we will look into a little later that what actually is okay right over here. Problem solving versus decision making. Problem solving is a set of activities designed to analyze the situation systematically and generate, implement, evaluate solutions. So we discussed it earlier that problem solving consists of certain activities. For example, first we need to identify that there is something going on which is not required, which is not desired. So we look that situation and we see that this is a problem. So if this is a problem, that we need to look into that how this problem affect our environment, how this problem affect our business. Then we look into that how this problem is actually arises. What are the various causes towards this particular problem? So this is the methodology. So we need to identify some sort of activities that will yield the identification of the problem and the analysis of the situation that will generate different sort of solutions. Whereas decision making is a mechanism for making choices at each step of the problem of solving process. So as I mentioned earlier, that we have different solutions to one problem. We need to identify the best one. So that is the decision making that we are talking about here. So these are the choices. Decision making is a part of problem solving, and decision making occurs at every step of the problem solving. I just pointed out this thing. Okay. Just very quickly go through the selection of an option over others under conditions that are uncertain, which exposes you to risk in order to reach a specified goal, objective, or outcome. That is what decision making is all about. And the summary is problem solving, don't know what to do. That is the problem. And decision making is choosing between the choices. So this is the difference between the problem and problem solving and the decision making. Okay, before discussing further, I would like you to show you one simple clip. Can you show that?
Yeah, to try, but there could be some issue with the animation. Because unless we upload it on
It's a movie clip.
Yeah, unless we upload it and go to webinar, it doesn't run properly, but we'll try.
Okay, I'm trying to show you one clip, and I'm told that in some of the machine it might not work, but
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just showing you a very small clip in which these soldiers are facing some problems, right? A particular problem. And the problem is very simple, but let me give you the overview of the problem, that what actually is all about. After a very long drill, say 20-25 kilometers after the running, all the soldiers are tired. And what happened is that their commander told this soldier that if they take this flag into their hand, they will get a free ride in the jeep way back to the mess, to the hostel, right? So I'm just showing you that is the case, that these people, these soldiers will try to take this flag, remove this flag in order to avail this opportunity of going back to the hostel, right? So just look at this clip and see what will happen. So this is the jeep.
Red flag means we're only at the halfway point. First man to bring it to me gets a ride back with Agent Carter. Move! Move!
Okay, these are the soldiers. They are trying to take this flag.
Get up there, Hog!
So they are trying very hard, all of them, because they are all very tired.
The four-legged line! Come on, fall in! Let's go! Get back in formation!
And they lose hope. And this is our hero, the captain.
I said fall in!
Okay. Okay, what you have seen, I'm just giving you 2 minutes just to recall what will happen.
So they're supposed to anticipate what will happen next. So you're going to share the shoulder another clip?
No.
Okay.
What is the scenario? What actually is the problem? They need to identify what is the problem, right? And what actually our hero come up with a solution. Assess the situation. I'm giving you 2 minutes, and you will see your inputs.
Do you want them to send responses?
Yes, if they can.
Okay. So, in the question dialog box, do they type in the responses? What was the problem?
What was the problem? And what actually is the solution? What is wrong with other soldiers that they won't be able to get the flag? Why other soldiers they won't able to get the flag? On the other hand, our hero being able to get the flag. What is their approach? Okay, just 2 minutes. In the meantime, I will take my tea, which is already cold. It is indeed very cold.
Okay, so I'm getting responses. Should I start reading them out? Mohammed Abu Bakr Akil is saying, assessing the situation after pausing to actually think how to achieve the end result. Umair is saying about the video question. The video question is, what is the problem? Which is to get the flag. Muhammad Afzal has written, problem, reaching the flag. Hassan Iqbal is saying, Captain America clear, where he needs to get the flag from the top of the pole. Lesson, no need to climb the pole if a simple option is available. Okay. Hafiz Waqas Ilyas, problem, get the flag. Ali Bey, if the problem is cash crunch, how to solve it. Fateh saying they were unable to follow the commander's instructions. Jamara Ahmad is saying strategy was missing in the soldiers. who tried to climb on the pole without analyzing the problem. Umar Ali, what hero did, he think beyond the basket.
After the
Yeah. Okay.
okay, my question, actually, the main question is not actually the problem. The problem I've already pointed out the problem. The question, the main question was, what is the difference of a mindset of our hero and the different soldiers? How they actually approach to that problem? That is my question, basically. I haven't get the right answer so far.
Can you explain?
Okay, are some responses coming? Or okay, fine.
Just a couple more, but there's several responses.
Okay.
Can you?
Okay, fine. Okay, the difference between the two approaches is the soldiers were looking at the flag and they will try to just without any thinking, without assessing the situation, that is there any other options available to them in order to get the flag. They have missed the main thing. They have unable to identify the cause. That if they're able to identify the cause, that is there any way of getting that flag? But on the other hand, our hero, the Captain America, they have identified the root cause. They have just look at the flag. If you watch the clip again, they assess this. He has looked up the pole and the flag from top to down. And at the bottom, he identified that there are certain nuts. If he unscrews the nut, the pole will go down and eventually he will get the flag. So what we need to actually identify the main root cause of the problem. That is what is known as problem is something else. If you look at this particular scenario, the problem is something else, and the cause is something else. The solution lies somewhere else, right? So whenever we need to identify the problem, we need to look at the causes. That if the problem is identified clearly, then it is very easy for us to provide the solutions. Right? Okay. We need to say.
So what, in your opinion, was the problem? Flagging the pole was the problem. Bringing the flag down was the problem.
Getting a flag is the problem. Getting the flag is the problem, right? Whereas the solution is the choices that different people have. The
One
solution is
and get it.
yes,
Other one.
that is one of the activity. That is one of the approach, right? The solution. Maybe some of the soldier is a very good climber and he will try to get that. But how easy for Mr. Captain America to get that problem solved just by unscrewing the thing and the pole will get down. So we try to find the best possible solutions. So solutions are many. So that we need to look into. We need to have a 5 minutes break, sir. So we need to have a 5 minutes break. We will resume after. Okay, let's resume. Okay, fine. Okay, there are 2-3 slides remaining that is more theoretical in nature and more academic, right? And after that, we will go towards the practical side. I will ask you certain questions. I will show you something that will generate interactivity and your interest. But very, very quickly, let's go through the types of decision making. Okay, we have the individual versus group decision making. Sometimes we need to make decisions by our own, or maybe sometimes we need to make a decision with the help of a group. Okay, so whenever we need to make a decision, we have make a problem. Okay, we have to look at a problem from one mindset. There's a relationship between one to many. We can think of a problem which is subjective in nature, whereas in the group we look into. We have many people in our team. They have different views. They have different mindset, and they may come up with a different solution. We may have one solution which is on the individual side, and we may have many solutions on the group side. Maybe we are unable to look into the problem into different perspective, but here in the group we have many people, and they approach towards that problem from a different perspective. Okay, but one thing is that sure, in the group decision making, we need to decide one thing, and that is the decision making. We need to identify a person that will be able to decide on the on behalf of the group. It may be a senior person. It may be the expert within the group, and that is you need to look into whenever we have to make a decision on the group basis, right? So let's quickly, who has the right to decide? We have authority versus delegation. Maybe we decide on the basis of authority, or maybe we delegate our responsibility to other one to decide. And then there's we have the centralized decision making, and we have the decentralized decision making. So that is that we need to link. Okay, we all know that whenever we have to solve a problem, we need to think. So we need to understand what is actually thinking. Thinking is anything that comes to our mind. It is the process of thought. Thinking is an activity of using your brain by considering a problem or possible, or creating an idea, or the action of using one's mind. But the thinking, maybe it is a focused thinking, or a conscious thinking, or an unconscious thinking. But in problem solving, it is always a conscious thinking. It is not an unconscious thinking. From the philosophical point of view, if we obsessed with one particular problem, we maybe try to solve this problem unconsciously. We maybe think of that problem unconsciously. But apparently, in many of the cases, it mostly is the conscious thinking. Okay, there are different types of thinking. One is convergent, divergent, deductive, inductive, vertical versus lateral. So these are, I'm quickly going through these slides. One is the convergent thinking, which means they're solving problem with a single correct answer. We have identified that there may be many different solutions available with us, but we will identify one solution and we'll try to explore the pros and cons, and we'll opt for that particular decision. This decision is based on logic, it is objective in nature, it is based on intellect, it is realistic. The divergent thinking is a creative approach. It is intuitive, it is subjective, it is emotional, it is best way of idea generations. We come up with the different ideas in order to solve a problem. It is one versus many. So we converge towards a particular point. We convert to converge to generate a particular conclusion, and whereas there may be a different conclusion of the same problem. Then we have deductive and inductive. It is a type of reasoning. Deduction is based on, say, reason, whereas induction is based on observation. In deductive reasoning, we use our knowledge in order to come up with a solution, and whereas induction, we have some we bases our arguments based on observation. We observe one phenomena and we observe it again and again, and then we realize that this will happen again, and then we generalize, and then we will conclude. So this is two ways of approaching a particular problem. This is mathematical in nature. This is statistical in nature. It is based on math. It is based on statistics. It is research oriented. It is mathematical oriented. Then we have different types of. Now this is again convergent or divergent thinking. We have different ways of looking at the problem. At the lateral, it looks for options, tries to find more than one promising solution, and stuff like this. Again, there are many ways to classify, to categorize different types of thinking. Okay, fine. Now, here, problem-solving methods. We know now what is a problem. Now we know what is a decision, what is problem solving, and what is a decision making. So we have different types of approaches here, methodologies here. I will not discuss all in detail, but I will take one, which is the unified model, which is the 7-step model. But we should appreciate that there are certain types of methods available. I will go one by one. PDCA model is plan, do, check, act. We have identified the problem, we have planned it, then we have executed, not executed it. We need to identify different solutions, we need to evaluate the different solution, and then we act it. Then
when you say act, does that mean
implementation
on the basis of
implementation,
isn't it? No. Act is once you've checked. I mean, act if there is some response required.
We have identified that what is the problem.
Yeah.
Then we need to identify then we need to identify the various solutions. So that is actually we will executing that. This is the strategy. This is the strategy, and this is the strategy. That we are performing certain activities in order to find out the different solutions. So that is actually the do part. And then we need to check the multiple choices that we have on the basis of the do act. And then action is the implementation of the selected choice. So that is the PDCA model. And again, we have another base model. We know what is the problem. If you need to precisely define what is the problem, then we have the list of alternatives based on our knowledge and stuff like this. Then we need to identify the criteria. Now there are different criteria that we may have. I just gave you 1, 2, 3 a criteria set. One may be the time, other may be the cost, the third may be the quality. So maybe we want to perform a particular, activity in less time, then our criteria is time. We want to have a quality, then we need to look into in a different perspective. So selection of the criteria is important as well. So normally in business we have three major criteria. One is the time, other is the cost, and the third one is the quality. And once we look our alternatives from these criteria, then we evaluate those alternatives and then we will make a decision. Then we have, okay, if paced model means P represent problem, A represent alternative, C represent criteria, E represent evaluate, and the next one is the decision. Similarly, we have the ideal model, so identify, determine, evaluate, act, and then this is ideal, and normally we are doing the same thing. Then we have the decide model, we have defined the problem, we have established, consider, identify, develop, and evaluate the action that we are taking. Now, here is the unified model. If we go very quickly about these, identify the decisions, you realize that you need to make a decision. In fact, that is a problem that we need to identify. Then we need to gather relevant information. Once we have the information we have, on the basis of that we can generate different alternatives. Then we need to weigh the evidence, means we need to weigh against the selected criteria. Once we have done that, then we need to choose among the alternatives, and then we have to we need to implement that decision, and then we need to review our decision on the basis of the experience that we have after action has been taken. Okay, now, right now I will give you one simple problem. I will give you 5 minutes to rethink, to look into this issue. Problem is this, and I'm where is that? Okay, fine. Okay. My car does not start after I eat vanilla ice cream. This is the genuine problem, this is the real-time problem that occurs in America. One of the customer of the General Motors, they complained to their complaint department that whenever he take vanilla ice cream, the car doesn't start. And you may find certain interesting issues associated with this. Although this is a very obscure situation, but there is a real problem. 2-3 times customer report this problem, they complained it. Customer knows that it is a very insane problem. It's a very insane, but he keep on complaining, and then eventually the General Motors realized that if there is a problem, there is something that they should look into. And they have done something, I will show you afterwards, but just imagine that it is a very strange phenomena, it is a problem, then how you approach this problem, what might be the causes of this problem, and what should be the solution of this problem. So I'm giving you 5 minutes to think on this particular problem. In the meantime, I will take my tea. So your time starts now. I will give 5 minutes. I need your responses. Only one response.
Mr. Khurram, we have some responses. Mr. Ali Beg is saying the car driver must have spilled vanilla ice cream on his car keys with his hand.
Okay, great. Okay, just hang on.
Yeah.
Okay, it not happens once. Whenever the customer eat a vanilla ice cream, right, it always happens that its car doesn't start. Right, so that is not actually the vanilla split on the engine or somewhere else. So that is not actually the cause. The next one.
Mr. Saqib Ali is saying that he should eat vanilla ice cream without closing the engine. He's closing it.
Okay, that is one of the course of action. That is one of the choices.
Manager is saying for the problem quoted for the vanilla ice cream. Manager is saying I would like to suggest that I would like to suggest the thought process I would undertake. Zulfikar Abdullah is saying weather condition as ice cream is eaten during hot weather.
Not necessarily, it is around the clock. Whenever, so I said whenever it is maybe hot weather or the cold weather, it is maybe morning or the evening or the afternoon, whenever.
Mr. O'Malley is saying problem might be the relation between the car problem and the ice cream may mean the location.
Okay, minimum location. Okay, good, very good. So it's going to the right direction.
Jahanara Ahmed Ali is saying ice cream doesn't have to do anything with the car. Problem identified is incorrect.
So that is the good, very good response. But actually, that is the problem. That whenever the customer eat vanilla ice cream, the car does not start. But whenever he take any other ice cream, any other flavor, maybe it's a chocolate, maybe it's chocolate chip, maybe any other flavor. Whenever he eat any other flavor, the car starts.
It's quite an interesting problem, I guess.
Only
Yeshua is saying, are we expected to respond as well, or is this expected only from those in the hall with you?
No, it's all
for everyone.
connected.
Yeah.
There is no one other than you in the hall.
Fakir Muhammad is saying the root cause analysis should be conducted to realize what is the problem. The cause may be due non-occurring the regular maintenance.
It's a new car.
Faisal Muhammad Yusuf is saying, I remember little about this story. I think the problem in the car was of the time. It was taking to make vanilla ice cream.
Okay. That's good.
And it was taking to make vanilla ice cream.
Good, very good.
Mr. Umair Arshad is saying, once I have noted the differences, then I would investigate the reasons behind the differences in routine and its consequential effects on the car.
Okay, great. Any other response? Good response?
Yeah, we have quite some responses. Mohammed Jabal is saying something to do with the time between switching off the engine and the time taken to buy the ice cream.
Okay, good, very good.
Zada Saleh is saying he should examine his car rather than making wrong excuses.
Okay, great.
There's another reply. It may be due to the place where the car has stopped to buy the ice cream.
Okay, good.
Maybe there's Muhammad Abdul Khan is saying there's something to do with the smell of the ice cream.
Good, very good. But I think that is not the case.
Mr. Muhammad Saqib Ali Rashidi is saying maybe the engine effects with the coldness of vanilla ice cream.
Good.
Rina Mehdi is saying it is summer, that is why he feels having ice cream. Therefore, this could be a very battery problem.
Okay.
So, I think you should move on and let them know what the real problem is. And
Okay, fine. Okay, what I will do is I will take this problem and I will discuss the problem solving process with this particular problem. But before that, few of the responses that she had just made. One thing is for sure that it is nothing, vanilla ice cream has nothing to do with the car, not starting the car, right? So that is, there is no logic, there is, this is very, very insane that vanilla ice cream has something to do with the car, right? So that is not the case, right? But observation suggested that there might be a problem that whenever they eat vanilla ice cream and the car does not start, right? So Miss Jahan Aram Ghalban, she is the one actually pointed out that thing.
Yeah.
So that is for sure that vanilla ice cream has nothing to do with the car that is not starting. The two other responses, they have just rightly pointed out that there is an issue of the time. I will show you a very small clip. It's a 2-minute clip that will shows what actually happened, how this a problem is identified, and what is the solution, right? And then we will go along with our a process. Just let me see where is. Okay, this is my car doesn't like. Okay, this is the story. My car does not like vanilla ice cream. So please keep watching and listen very, very carefully, and we'll see that what will happen. Okay, I hope that you see that what will happen to this particular problem, right? So it is not the vanilla ice cream which causes the problem. It is the time taken to get the vanilla and the other ice cream. The time is very short to get the vanilla ice cream because it is a very famous, very popular ice cream, and it is uh, located very near to that. And other ice cream are very far, and it will take a longer time. And the car is so we have uh, it took a longer time to the car is to be cooled down, and then they have identified the problem. It is not actually the time, it is actually the vapor lock because of the time. So the cause is the time basically, and then they come up with a solution. And eventually the General Motors had to revamp, redesign uh, the engine based on this particular problem, and it has happened. And you may find this case in the Harvard Business School as well, right? So, okay, fine. But if we go through the steps, okay, of not only this problem, but with any problem that we need to look at. So what actually happened that the problem is being identified. So we have to identify the problem. This is your step number one. What shall I identify the decision that need to be made? We need to look into what actually is the problem. Then once the problem is identified very, very clearly that vanilla ice cream does not, whenever they eat vanilla ice cream, the car does not stop, right? Now, then the engineer came to the scene, and he observed, he tried to gather information, he tried to get the information, whatever it is needed. They joined the family. They went to go to the ice cream parlor, and they uh, get various ice cream and try to find out, right. And whenever they have get actually uh, different information, and from that information they come up with a clue that what may be the issue. In that particular case, one thing is very, very clear, and logic says that vanilla has nothing to do with the engine. So that is very, very obvious. So there has to be something else other than the vanilla ice cream. But when he gathered information, and then he analyzed, and on the basis of its experience and knowledge, he get an idea that what might cause this, and he identified as what you may call the time. And from the time he identified the vapor clock. So then he identified different, and he then identified that particular problem and proposes certain solutions that what need to be done. Can you unmute? Unmute. 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 Okay, fine. I will go through the later steps a bit later. But first we need to look into this particular, the first step. And it is very, very important. And that is identification of the problem. I have pointed you earlier in my first phase that for some people, something is not a problem. And the same event, the same thing, for some people is a huge problem. So we need to clearly identify that what actually is the problem. So in order to identify the problem, we need to do something. In order to do something, maybe in order to identify what actually is the problem, we may have certain techniques, but right now I will give you a simple question. The question is very, very simple, but you need to say, try to find out the cause that why this particular event is happening. The question is very, very simple. We have one friend who lived in 18-story building. Right? I repeat, we have a friend who lived in an 18-story building. Whenever there is a rain, and when he came back from office, he entered the lift and he straight away landed on the 18th floor. But whenever there is no rain, he landed up in 14th floor and then used the stair in order to get the 18th floor. So my question is this, that why this happened. I repeat the question. Question is, our friend lived in an 18-story building. Whenever he came back on an ordinary day, whenever he entered the lift stopped at 14th floor. And then he has to move up using the stair to go to the 18th floor. But whenever there is a rain, and when he came back, and he entered the lift, and the lift stopped at 18th floor. Right. So I will take a break. Right, it's a 10 minutes break. Just try to find out what actually the cause behind it and why this phenomenon is unusual phenomenon is happening. Right. So see you after 10 minutes. Okay, fine. I asked you a very simple and straightforward question, and I think that you have responded that question.
Two people have responded, and there are multiple people who made an attempt. So you want me to go through those answers?
Few that those have attempted, and those who have actually answered that question.
I'll just tell the names of the people who have answered it correctly. Two people. Muhammad Umar is the winner. He was the first one to identify the problem.
Okay, good.
And then Waqas Ahmed Jabal is the runner-up. He also identified the problem. They did it in a very interesting way. But let me tell you what Muhammad Umar wrote. So, according to Umar, he says, I'll just read out his first answer. He's written that he may be of a short height, and when it rains, he may be carrying an umbrella to press the 18th floor button. Whereas when it's not raining, then he may not be carrying an umbrella, and therefore his hands can only reach the 14th floor button. So I wrote to Umar saying, yes, you did it, excellent.
Well done.
And then I asked him, did you use Google? And he said, no. And then he gave an explanation also, which is again very interesting. He says, my height is around 6 feet 2 inches. I have often seen kids ask me in the lift, press a specific floor button. And that let me solve half of the side of the quiz. And the rest links to an umbrella related to rain. So a bit of practical experience helped me here. Bingo, excellent. Just the answer that Waqas Jabal gave also, that's very interesting. It says he uses the umbrella for pressing the 18th, question mark. And then he says he is a Kodu, a short guy. Yeah, that's right as well. So good expression. Temperature didn't do anything. Rain didn't do anything. It had nothing to do with rain. I mean, of course, it had something to do with rain. He was carrying an umbrella on a rainy day. But that was the good problem and the solution.
Okay, well done, both of the guys, the Umar and the Waqas. Ubin is here? Okay, well done, both of you. But if you, Umar have just pointed out that he has experienced the case that he asked, and on the basis of the experience that he is able to identify actually what behind the cause of this particular and what might be the solution of this, right? Can you unmute what? Mute. Okay, fine. Let's resume. Okay, this led to a very important aspect of the problem identification. And now, looking at the problem, if we have some sort of problem and we have tried to identify some of the issue at hand, we need to look into a problem into a different perspective. And sometimes it happens we are unaware and we are unable to get the right clue of what is actually going on based on our personal perception. So in order to look into a different mindset, we need to look at the problem in a way into a different mindset. You need to look beyond the problem, and what I will show you one very small clip, which is very, very popular with a few of my friends.
There's one individual, NYJK school, He says, can you explain the answer to the elevator issue once again? He couldn't understand it properly. So can you repeat the answer?
Okay, fine.
Correct answer.
Okay. Okay, the problem is very, very simple. Our friend who is a Kodu, a short-heighted one, and whenever there is a rain, he take the umbrella with him. And when he returned to home and he entered the elevator, he uses the umbrella to press the 18th button. So that is how I actually reached to the 18th floor directly. But in the normal circumstances, when there is no rain, he
And could only get the 14th
yes,
floor.
he didn't take his umbrella with him, and he, because of his short height, is unable to press the 18 button, and that is why he's unable to get directly to his 18th floor. So that is actually the case. Okay, fine. I will show you one very small clip which will help you in looking at the problem in a different perspective. So let it be. Okay, the background of this clip is that there is a person who actually asked once a question to a professor about seeking an answer, but he actually unable to give the answer to that. But in a particular scenario, a particular situation, the person who actually asked the question to the professor, he helped his, and by this help he inclined towards answer the question. So let's look at the clip. So the professor is working on something else. And this is the
If you
first
bend your medial collateral ligaments, place one talus in front of another, I don't see where you'd have a problem. Of course, if there were a news story covering this event, the headline might read, "Small brain enters room." Fingers. What's the answer? Oh, you're another one of those bright young fellas who always know the right answer. That it? Welcome to real life.
by starting with the cup. And that will generate the interest of the professor. And he will now answer the question.
How many do you see? Four fingers, I think. Look at me. You're focusing on the problem. You focus on the problem, you can't see the solution. Never focus on the problem. Look at me. How many do you see? Look beyond the fingers. How many do you see? Eight. 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 Yes, yes. Eight's a good answer. See what no one else sees. See what everyone else chooses not to see. Fear, conformity, and laziness. See the whole world anew each day. And the truth is, you're well on the way. You didn't see something here besides a crazy, bitter old man. You wouldn't have come in the first place.
Okay, fine. Now that is one of the things that you need to practice, and you need to approach the problem the way it should be. Whenever we have a problem and we need to try to solve that particular problem, but we never look beyond the problem. Whenever we look beyond the problem, we might get a clue to the solution. Just try this thing particularly. Just stretch your hand, look at the finger, not the finger, but beyond the finger, and you will find that you will have the different answers. So just try it. Stretch your hand, look at the finger, not look at the finger, look beyond the finger. So what should be the answer? Just try it and give an answer. Is it 4, it is 6, or it is 8? Whatever it is 6 or it is 8, it is the correct answer, but this will give you the clue that what should be the case. Now this is the analogy that you need to identify the solution of the problem, the way to look beyond, look ahead, look from a different perspective, right? So this is the way it should be to handle, to look into the problem. Now, let's go back to our presentation. Okay, fine. Let's go. Now we have seen what are the 7 problems of the problem-solving methodology. Now look at some of the approaches towards problem solving. So it might be the abstraction. Abstraction means that the model, that we need to build a model for a particular problem and look into the problem into a different perspective. One of the course that you may have heard of, the financial modeling. The financial modeling is approach to a problem by varying different factors associated with the model. By giving different inputs, you might get the different answers to the same problem. So abstraction is modeling a problem. Model is the abstraction of the given reality. And when we use the model in order to look at the problem by changing the inputs, it will give you the different answers, the different variations attached to it. And today, at the end of the session, in the last half an hour, I will try to give you one of the demo based on that we built a very small model, and based on that, we will try to do that. The other technique the other strategy is the brainstorming. We use brainstorming. We will try different ideas in order to make the solution. Another very interesting strategy is the divide and conquer. Identify the problem, break down into the pieces, decompose it to a level where there is no division to that problem, and then you will apply the solution. That is one of the strategy. Then we have the hypothesis testing. We build a model, we build a hypothesis. A hypothesis is actually the solution, and we will try to provide the explanation to answer the hypothesis, whether it is valid or wrong. Then other strategy is the root cause analysis, and we will discuss this root cause analysis. This is the way to identify what actually the cause behind the problem, so that we will be able to identify not only the problem, but we will try to solve it as well. And the next is the trial and error. We all do that, some work, some don't work, and we will identify or accept the best the thing that works. Okay, root cause analysis. Let's discuss this thing. Okay, what is the root cause analysis? Root cause analysis is a method of problem solving used for identifying the root cause of fault or a problem. One of the technique that we will be using, that is the 5 why technique, and it is the Six Sigma, one of the element of the Six Sigma, which is the define, measure, analyze, improve, control methodology. And the reason is that whenever we have a problem, we will ask question why that problem occurs. Then we will get some answer for that, and then we will say why that thing happened and that why this thing happened. So it is often the case what seems to be a problem is not the problem, rather it is the effect of another event. Asking why will lead to the actual problem, and repeating 5 why 5 times actually is not fixed. Maybe sometimes you will get the answers up to 3, maybe 5, but 5 is actually the standard. So let's you will get this a presentation. Harun Saab will send it to you, but this is one of the example. So if you look at this particular example, the problem is you are on your way home from work and your car stops in the middle of the road. So that is actually the problem. So you are facing right now. But in order to identify what is the root cause of this particular problem, so asking why did your car stop? So the first solution is because it ran out of gas. So that is the possible answer. That is the possible answer to this question. Why did your car stop? Okay, fine. If that is the answer to that question, then why did it run out of gas? That is again a very logical cause to this. Why it has happened? Because I did not buy any gas on my way back to work. Okay, fine. So you did not buy. Why you did not buy? Because why you did not buy any gas this morning? Because I didn't have any money. Okay, fine. That is again a plausible answer. But why didn't you have any money? Now, because my wife took my wallet yesterday night and we went for shopping. Okay. Now, why did your wife took your wallet? And the answer is right over here, because I forgot my wife's birthday. So that is the actual cause of this problem, that your car is stops in the middle of the road. So what is actually the problem? What is actually the cause?
Ukas is saying, interesting to know that even the 5-way technique doesn't dare ask the 6. Why you forgot the birthday?
That is the solution. So you need to, now the problem is this, so never ever forget the wife birthday. Yes, the wife birthday. How did you forget your wife birthday? Okay, then what will happen?
You don't see much here.
Okay, fine. So this is one of a very good technique that with the help of which you can identify the root cause of this particular problem. We might have any other problem. Okay, there is another example. Why did we miss the delivery date? A company missed delivery date 3 times in a week. So if you look at this particular why combination answers, why did we miss the delivery date? It wasn't time. There are a lot of engineering changes. Why customer requested them? Root causes, customer needs. So that is, and the solution is, when I change the delivery date, whenever engineering changes occur due to the customer needs. So with the help of this very simple technique, you can identify the root cause. Then we have the cause and effect diagram. This is developed by the Ishikawa, if I'm not wrong. This diagram is also known as the fishbone diagram, that visually display the many potential causes for a problem. I'm going through very quickly a few of the things, because at the end of the day I need to present a demo. So if you look at it, this is actually the cause that we have, and at the back of them, these are the potential categories, and from here you can identify that why this actually is happening. And in fact, if you look at back, you will eventually get why actually this problem is occurring. Similarly, you have the force field analysis, and in the force field analysis, you have two different aspects. Okay, so force field analysis for any solution that we, any problem that we are facing, and we need to solve this, resolve it. There are certain driving forces that are associated with it, and there are certain restraining forces that are associated with it. We need to list down all the driving forces that will, and with all restraining forces that are identified. If you look at this particular problem, a manager in a manufacturing plant is trying to decide whether the company should install a new equipment or not. So these are some of the driving forces, and we have actually identified the score associated with it. So there are restraining forces. So there are 13 over here, there are 14 over here, and what we need to do is that depending on the value that is associated with, we come up with the solution of the particular problem. Okay, we will get a 2 minutes break here, and then we will discuss the demo first.
We've done the slideshow.
No, I will give the demo. Just mute it first. Okay, fine. We will leave this presentation for the time being, and we will conclude this a bit later. Now, in the outline, we have just identified that there are few problems that we need to discuss using the Excel feature. This will give you an idea that how Excel can be used to assist you in decision making. If you open Microsoft Excel, okay, fine.
Before we go there, there's a question that Jamal has asked. He's saying, can you briefly explain the 6 Sigma steps? It will help get a holistic picture, the 6 Sigma.
Okay.
Sorry for discussing. Can we do it now? We will do it after.
Okay, we will do afterwards. After at the ACCA session, we will look at it.
So Vikas will have to hold on. Just as we done with the demonstration in Excel, we'll get back to this question.
Fine. Okay. Now there is one 5-by technique is one of the component of the 6 Sigma methodology. Okay, fine. We will discuss it later. We will chat on this. Okay, fine. Okay. One of the feature of Excel is what-if analysis. So what-if analysis, it is right over here in the data tab. I hope you have opened Excel.
You want them to
Yes, I want them to
practice
do it with me. Yes, I want them to do it with me. Right?
just announce.
Okay, guys, just open the Excel. I want to show you a demo that how Excel can be helpful in making some sort of a decision or assist you in some sort of a decision making. So I will be using the data ribbon. Click the data tab and you will find in the data tools what if analysis. Right now I'm using 2010 Excel. If you have 2013, 16 or 2007, you all find what if analysis in the data tab in the data tools group. Right? So what if analysis, if you click that, you will find three options: scenario manager, data table, and goal seed. So I will focus only on one, that is data table. Right? Okay. In one of my slide, I show you the abstraction that how to develop a model, and based on that model, you come up with different scenarios that will help you out in making some sort of a decision. So I will show you, I will discuss two different scenarios. What I will do is that, for example, someone or maybe our company is looking for a loan from a bank, and maybe just type it loan amount, and just type it, say maybe we want rupees 300,000 from the bank. Now the bank is giving a loan on certain rate. Right now maybe it is 16, rate is for maybe 16%, right? And then we have the duration of the loan. Maybe say 5 years, duration in years. Now the next is the installment, the calculation of the installments. Installments. Okay, so this, I'm developing a model for this particular problem, that how we can calculate the installment based on this loan agreement from the bank. So the loan amount is 300,000, the rate is 16%, and the duration is 5 years. So in one of my last few webinars, you might have, I have discussed the formula, that is the PMT function. So PMT function is a function that is used to calculate the installment of a given loan from the bank. So the PMT function, that there are three parameters involved. One is the rate, another is the NPR, and the third one is the present value, the PV. In this particular case, the rate is 16%, and that is stored in P2. And since we are calculating the monthly installment, and since it is the annual rate, so we need to divide it by 12 in order to calculate the monthly rate. Then the next is the NPR, which represents the duration, and it is in B3. So again, it is represent years. We need to multiply it by 12, so that it is converted to the same months. And then we have the present value. So this is the function that is used to calculate the monthly installment of this particular arrangement. So this will show that if we take a loan from the bank of rupees 300,000 at the rate of 16% per annum, for 5 years, the monthly installment should be 7,295.42 pesos, right? So what if we need to generate scenarios that are for varying rates and for varying duration, what will be the loan amount. So this will give us a indication for our current resources and current situation, that what will be the most feasible solution to this particular loan, that how much loan that we should take and from at how much rate. So what we need to do is we need to generate a table, a data table. So if the procedure of developing a table is, first of all, the data table is of two types. One is known as the one input data table and other is known as the two input data table. I will develop one input data table right now, but after that I will be developing a two input data table. Okay, two input data table. So two input data, okay, first of all, the first input data table. In order to develop the first input data table, we need to have something right over here. For example, we have, we want to look at the various rates. For example, these are the rate, and we have 16%, and say we want to have right from the 16% all the way to say maybe 10%. This is 15%. This is 14%. This is 13%. Maybe this is the 12%. This is maybe the 11%. Okay, fine, that's enough. So we want to see that for the loan of rupees 300,000 at 15% for the 5 years duration, what will be the loan installment per month would be. So in order to do that, we need to replicate this PMT function right in this cell. So this is the model that we have just created. Just click that. So B5 contains the function, a PMT function. We have used that reference and just select it. After this selection, we need to click the data tab, then go to the data tools, and then what if analysis. Once you click that, click the data table, and the data table dialog box will pop up. Now we are developing the column data table. So it asking the row input means it's a row-wise table or is a column input cell. So we have the column input cell. So this represents the rate. Just go to this column input cell box and click, select, since these are the rates, click this one. So this will be utilizing cell for various rates available to this particular selection. If you click that and click OK, and you will see what will happen. So this will generate a table. In the problem solving methodology, our second step is that generate enough data. So this is one way of getting the enough data from the data source, so that we will be able to get the make a better solution. Decisions. So this is one way of developing a table, which is a one input data table. The two input data table will give you a broader picture.
The participants will want to see the formula in cell B5.
Okay, this is the formula.
Can you explain it once again so that they're clear on?
Okay.
So the first component was rate, the second component was duration, the third component was present value.
the participant seems to be more interested in this particular aspect, right? Because it is it is of their interest. Okay, fine. So let me explain once again what is the PMT function. PMT function is used to calculate the monthly installment of any given investment or a loan, right? So PMT function has 5 parameters altogether, but we are focusing only on 3. First one is the rate, the second one is the NPER, and the third one is the PV. PV stands for present value, NPER stands for the duration. In this particular example, we have the loan amount, and this is the amount that we are getting from a bank, which is 300,000, at the rate of 16% per annum, and the duration is of 5 years. What we'll do is that PMT function, then we have the rate. Rate is this one, which is in B2. Since it is the annual rate, we need to divide it by 12 so that we may have the monthly rate. Then the second parameter is NPER, which is the duration. And duration is 5 years, so we need to multiply it by 12 so that we will have the synchronization with the months. Then we have the B1. B1 is the present value. So we have all 3 parameters in place, and when I click that, I will get the answer for this particular loan arrangement. I need to pay rupees 7,295.42. I think the function is clear, right? Okay. Now what I will do is I will create a 2-input data table, which might be more important for a decision making. Let me delete it once again. And we have on one side, we have rates. Here we have rate 16%. We have rate 15%. 15%. Just type with me. Then we have 14%. We have 12%. I think it's more than enough. On this particular side, we have, say, 5 years. We have 4 years. We have 3 years. We have 2 years, and we have 1 year. So we have 2 ways on the basis of rates, and we have the years. So what we need to say, for example, if we want to see at the rate of 14% and the duration is 3 years, what will be the per month installment? So what we will do is we just use the equal to sign. Then we have P5, and that we have the answer. Now select this one. After this selection, go to the data tab, go to the data tools, and then what if analysis. Then we have the data table. Now we have 2 things to look into. This is the duration, and this is the rates. Duration is in row. So row input cell will be this one. And we have the column input cell, and that represent the different rates, and we need to click this one, rates, and then click OK. We will get the different answers of these 2 combinations. So if you look at this particular table, oh, I have missed the one part. Okay, fine, that's okay. So if you look at this particular table, you have at the rate of 16%. If we go for 4 years loan, the monthly installment will be this. Say, for example, if we have 13%, and if we go for, say, 4 years loan, it will be 8048 installment per month. This will give you a fair idea that what should be our course of action. This will provide you the multiple choices that you have with you. And by looking at the resources that you have, the scenario that you are in, this will give you a clear-cut indication that what should be you are aiming at. Right? So this is one way of doing it. Another very simple example, I'm sharing it with you, and I'm giving you another model, and I will like you to do it by yourself, and then I will discuss that what will happen. I'm giving you a very simple scenario. For example, you have some sort of products in terms of units that you're having, right? So in order to use what-if analysis, you need to model your problem. You need to build a model. Then you have a price associated per unit. Price per unit. Then you have sale, right? And then you have certain fixed cost. I'm just keeping with fixed cost. And then we have the profit. So we have 5 parameters available right over here. So we have the products, we have the price, we have the sale, and we have the fixed cost, and we have the profit. For example, we have right now, just assuming that we have 500 units with us, right? And the price is, say, for example, 25 rupees per unit. What should be the sale volume that we got? We got, if we multiply this by this, multiply this by this, we will get the same. And for example, say we have 25,000, the fixed cost associated with the whole lot. What should be, no, 125, not make it, say, 12,000. Now, what should be the profit? For example, we have the profit like, say, it should be sales. We have 100, we have 1,000 a product with us at our disposal, right? What we need to do is we need to clear those sales units. My question to you is that at what price we should sell these products, and the objective is to achieve a break-even. So my question, once again, my question is for this particular model, we are assuming that we have 1,000 units with us. We need to make a sale, we need to announce a sale, we need to clear all these product, but our objective is that we should have a break even. The decision is that what should be the price per unit. What should be the price per unit for that sale if we want to have a break even. So use the data table and come up with your answer that what should be the price per unit. I'm giving you 2 minutes for that, 2 to 3 minutes. I hope you can do that and come up with a solution. And after that, I will show you how to do it. But first of all, do it yourself. You know how to build a data table? Just do it. Should we begin? You have a slow connection.
No, often the input. What does it say?
It said you have a slow connection. Would like to hide webcam and start. No. Okay, before the break, I gave you one very simple question. And I hope you have tried it and you have come with a solution. So what is your solution if you have just responded? Are there any responses to this?
The man really saying that he got the same answer to the data table also, and Aslan is the same 12 per unit.
Okay, good. Let's see.
Hassan Ali Bahadur is also saying the answer is 12.
Okay.
So Mera Akhtar is also saying the answer is rupees 12 per unit.
Okay, that's great.
This was a simplified case.
Yes.
It's a very complex case also.
Okay, it could be it's a very, very simple scenario. So you may have a different scenarios or complex scenarios, but I will show you how we come up with 12, if it is 12. I don't know whether it is 12 or not. It is only the runtime scenario that I have just created. So let's see that what should be our answer. And this will give you a clue that how data table can be used for the decision making. Okay, let's begin with that. So what we need to do is that we need to just give so I will just construct I will construct a 2-input data table. For example, we have say okay, I've missed one part, that is that I'm unable to give you the guideline. For example, we have 25, price range is 25, 20, 15, 10, or maybe 5. And then we have on one end of the site, we have say 1,000 unit. We have then what we have 900 units. Then we have the 800 units. 800 units. Maybe we have say 700 units. Then we have the 600 units. We have the 500 units, and so on and so forth. Or maybe we have the 400 units. So what I will do is I will construct a table on the various prices and the various lots that we have. And in order to do that, our focus is on profitability, our profits. So just replicate this, B7, and then just click that, just select the entire table, data tab, what if analysis, data table, and now we have two input to make. One is the input cell. Row input cell is on the number of units. Just click this one, and then on the price we have this one, and just click that one, which is B2 for price. And if you click OK, and you will see you will have the different things that you may have. I need to rephrase that questions. That was my, I did not explain it properly, but the scenario is this, that if you have different lots of the products that we have, ranges from 1,000 to 400, and on various price range, which should be the best possible solution that we may have. If we just use the conditional formatting to just visualize it more, then we have the home tab, then the conditional formatting, and the highlight cell greater than 0, greater than 0, just like that. And then we have conditional formatting once again, and then highlight rows less than 0, 0, and then we have two different, then we need to say use the other one and click OK. The table that we have just created, it highlighted few insights. It gives us two possible solutions. That if we go for say 15, if we set the price of 15, and if we sell 800 units, we will have the break even. And if we set the price of our product is 20, and we sell 600, that is one thing. And if you say, if your management say that we need to get some sort of a profit out of it, that what should be the price. So from this particular table, you can get a fair idea that what should be the price. If you look at this right from here, the pink shaded part is profitability, and all the greenish part is the losses. So if you go for the break even, so you have two options available with you, either 15 or 20 with 800 or 600. And if you go for the profitability, then you have these options available with you. So either 15, at the rate of 15 per unit, you will get, if you sold this much, you will get the 3,000, and if you get this much, you will get the 1,500,000. So data table is a feature that will help you out in decision making. That what should be the case, what should be the course of action that you will be making, right? Again, this is a very simple scenario. You may have complex scenarios, but the key is that you need to look at the key parameters, the key variables. In this particular problem, we have three key variables involved. One is the profit, which is our objective that we need to look into, and this is based on products and the prices. Similarly, you need to look at the key variables that will be the part of the problem. Then you need to model that problem, and then you will be developing the data table so that you will get enough data set with you so that you can be able to identify a particular course of action. Right? If we go back to the problem solving a process, first of all, you need to clearly elaborate what is the problem. Once it is identified that you need to get enough data, information. So this is one way of getting the enough information, the required information that is needed to make some sort of decisions. Once we have that, and then we have evaluated. For example, the evaluation is that we want to sell most of our product. So the best possible solution is this one. So at the price of 15, you will be selling 800 units. So if that is the case, the best course of action is just implement it, and then you will see that what will happen. So this is the demo of the what if analysis of the data table, so that this will assist you in decision making. If you have any question on this what if analysis, this is the time. Because I won't be repeating this aspect again. We may be discussing this particular thing in some other webinars, but not here. So this is only the demo that how we can use Excel features for decisioning. So I'm giving you 1 minute for this. If there are any questions, please do ask.
Two people have said that was very clear actually.
Good.
Just two. And there are any questions.
Okay, great. So if this is the case, we should move on.
Yeah.
Okay. So Excel is an excellent.
One question. So can you discuss the scenario manager feature in brief? And there's one more question. Can we incorporate a third variable like fixed cost in current analysis?
What fixed cost? What is actually asking? What would fixed cost? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Can we incorporate a third variable like fixed cost in current analysis?
Okay. As far as the data table is concerned, it is only limited to 2 variables. So if there are 2 variables we need to look into, this will only develop a table for 2 variables. So whatever variables that we need to look into, it will help us in developing the table for 2 variables. So that is the limitation associated with the data table.
Yeah.
So we cannot incorporate the third variable. It may be included in the formula or the functions, right? But actually, this will not give you an idea, or it won't serve the purpose.
Even goal seek works with one variable.
Goal seek is yes, it is only for 1 variable. That is the limitation. And to answer, if you want to look into values of multiple variables, unknown variables, then we need to use the solver. Right? So
there are multiple variables solver and solver.
Yes. We have different options available. We have solver for multiple variables. We have goal seek for 1 variables. We have data tables for 2 variables. Okay, we may use scenario managers to look into the different type of variables as well. But scenario manager is out of the scope right now as far as this webinar is concerned. Okay, for those who are interested in scenario managers, goal seek, we have conducted a webinar titled Excel Level 2. I have discussed these 3 features, data table, scenario manager, and goal seek in that webinar. If some of you who are interested to look into these features, you can always go back and look at the on vimeo.com ACCA Pakistan. Okay,
So soon they will be available on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so you have made a decision on that.
Yes.
So what was the problem?
We'll talk about it when it's all.
Okay, fine. So we have just told me that all these webinars videos will be available to you on YouTube soon. How soon?
Well, that's hard to say, but they can surely access the videos on our video channel.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's conclude this particular part. I don't need to save it.
That's about 45 minutes. So
We can.
an hour for the content, about 10 minutes.
Okay, 5 to 10, 10 to 15 minutes for the remaining part, and then we'll have the Q&A sessions. Maybe it all depends. I can spend 45 minutes on slides as well, if you wish. So it doesn't make any. Okay. So another very interesting technique of problem solving. This is the technique developed by Edward de Bono, one of the psychologists is famous for this particular technique. Whenever we have a problem, we tend to think in a different way. So maybe you may have seen people, they are very critical. There are few people who are pessimists. There are people who are optimists, right? There are different types of people within your team, or maybe they have the different traits of thinking styles, right? So 6 thinking styles is a technique of looking at the problem in different ways. The idea is that you are wearing a particular hat. When you wear a particular hat, maybe it is a critical thinking approach, maybe it is an imaginative thinking approach, maybe it is the criticism approach, right? So the idea is that whenever you put a particular hat, you need to mold yourself in that very approach. You need to mold your thinking style in that very. So there are 6 thinking, 6 hats. One is the red one, the white one, the yellow, black, green, and the blue one. So it is just red one is intuitive, this one is informative, this one is constructive, this one is cautious, this one is creative, and this one is reflective. Let's go through one by one very, very quickly, and we'll see how we'll see the red hat. The red hat, when you put a red hat, then your thinking style should be that you mold yourself to more emotional, the feeling side, what you feel about that particular problem. So, what are your gut reactions? That is intuitive. What your intuition says, what your gut feeling says about the problem. In some cases, when we decide that we are going to do this, what will happen? What your gut says, right? Some says, yes, I think it's a very good idea. Some says, yes, we will, by implementing this decision, we will be able to get our objective, whatever the case may be. So this is the feeling that you have attached to the decision. Whenever you make some sort of a decision, there is automatically some sort of feelings, maybe a positive feeling, maybe a negative feeling. Whatever happened, it intuitively, suddenly, you will have an idea that what should be the case. In most of the cases, in the majority of the cases, whenever we try to decide something, we often ask this question, liking or disliking. That is actually the case. So whatever the decision that you will try to make, and you feel whatever you feel about it, just spontaneously said that. So that is one way of approaching towards a particular problem. Then we have the white hat. The white hat is actually the one that asking about the data, more information. It is actually the second part of the process, gather information. There are people who ask about get that data from where is that information, where is that information. They look into the information, they need to get the data in order to find out what actually is the case. these are the people who get the data and they will tend to analyze the data and come up with based on the data they come up with the decision, right? So this is what Whitehead is all about. So whenever you put that hat, you need to mold yourself in a way in order to get these facts and figures in order to evaluate the scenario and come up with the solution. Okay, then you have the yellow hat. This is very optimistic. The thing is that when you wear that hat, you should be optimistic about it. You should give the positive ideas about this. That by selecting particular option, by opting for this particular decision, we will get that, we will do that, we will have this, we will have this. So this is what is about the hellware. It is positive and constructive. It is about effectiveness and getting the job done. What are the benefits and the advantages? Whenever you have that hat on you, you will always looking at the benefits, the advantages of implementing that decision or going for that decision. So another is Shift F5. Okay, so now we have the black hat. Okay, the black hat is very, very interesting. And in your team, in our team, you will find at least few people who always wear this hat, the black hat. They always tend to criticize that don't do this, don't ever do this, because if you do that, you will have this. They're always looking at the darker side of the picture. Yellow hat is the optimistic side. This is a pessimistic side. So these people, these kind of people, they will give you a better idea that what are the drawbacks of this, what are the disadvantages, what goes wrong, so that you can have a fair idea about a particular decision, that what will going to happen. The green hat. This, if you wear that hat, your thinking style will be innovative, creative. You will have a divergent thinking style. You will think out of the box. You will finger click. You look beyond the problem, not at the problem, but beyond the problem to find out the various novel solutions of that particular problem. So this is the way to look at the problem from different point of view, from different perspective, so that you can have the different variations of the same problem. So represent growth and movement. It is a positive sign, and you will generate new solutions for. New means the innovative, the creative solutions. I will show you one clip. Let me first finish that, and then I will go through. Okay, lateral thinking wears green hat. What is lateral thinking? Lateral thinking is a type of thinking where you can approach a problem in a parallel ways. You look from one step to another step, another step. If a parallel processing is going on, so that you can come up with a different ideas, different solution to that same problem. The convergent thinking is a thinking that is opposite to the green hat thinking style, whereas you look at only one solution at a time. And that is the only solution you think is the best solution. And you will try to analyze that solution only, the good and the bad about that problem, and the objective is to implement that problem. You try to eliminate all the negative side of the problem, and eventually come up with the positive side and try to implement that. That is the convergent thinking, which is the opposite of the green hat. Green hat is that looking at the problem in a way that you come up with the novel and new ideas, right? Okay, the blue hat. The blue hat is actually the hat that controls the whole process. It is the manager hat. It is the administrator hat that controls everything, the flow of the information, the flow of the logic. And within your group, within your team, there might be a disagreement, there might be a exchange of hot words, right? It is up to the person who actually wears the blue hat controls everything, right? It is actually the anchor person who makes sure that everything is go right. It is a planning person, a person who plans the activity, that plans the processes and monitors and then controls it. So that is what is all thinking style all about. Now, since we have seen what are these hats for, the idea behind this sixth thinking hat is that whenever we have the problem, then we need to wear those hats in order to mold our thinking in a manner to look at the problem from a different perspective. From the a creative innovation point of view, from the a positive side, the pessimistic approach, all the approaches, the best, the advantages, the disadvantages, the failings, everything that's actually on the table, so that we can look into the problem and this decision to come up with a better options for the selection to make a decision. Okay, one of the clip when I need to show you for creative thinking. Let me show you one of a very simple clip. Let me find one of those. Yeah. It's about the disagreement of two persons. There is a manager and there is a guest, and the guest has spent a few nights in that hotel, and the manager asked him that he owe him certain amount of the rent. So let's see how he calculates the rent. That is.
Wait a minute. You.
So let me do it again from the start. Just focus and look at the creativity that is associated with this.
Wait a minute. You owe me back room rent. Don't get excited. How much is it? You owe me 13 weeks at $7 a week. Tidy sums. Pardon me just a minute. Lou. Here's $28. $20. Getting that old routine about, 7 and 28, 13 times. Oh, oh, yeah. And do it right this time. Hope it works. Make it snappy. Okay. Mr. Landlord. Yeah. Smoking an army blanket? Never mind about that. You owe me room rent. All right, here's $28. $28, fine.
Just a minute. You owe me 13 weeks at $7 a week, and that happens to be a lot more than $28. Well, that comes to $28. Did you go to school? Yes, sir. Do you mean to say that you can prove that 7 times a week? Yes, because Mr. Rabbit and I, that's what I will give you the room rent for nothing. You will? But if you don't prove it, you owe me double the back rent. Is it a deal? That's a deal. Okay. Do you happen to have any Crayola on it? Crayola? Mine. I got it. Oh, you have it. I got the Crayola. 7 to 28 is going to come out 13. That's your way. That's my way. It's got to come out right. Now, first, I put down the 7. Right. Now, I'm going to divide the 7 into 28. Yeah. I put a 28 there. Okay. That's you. Now, 7 into 2. 7 will not go into 2. It will not. That's a very big 7 to push into that little bit of 2. Say it is. We ain't going to hurt that little 2, are we? Of course you won't. So we take the 2, open hand, yes, and I put that 2 right there for safekeeping. But don't drop it and don't lose it. Now, 7 to 8. Once. I put the 1 over here, 1 over there. Now, we're going to carry the 7 because it's very big and it's getting heavy on my shoulders, and I'm going to drop the 7 under there. Now, 7 from 8 is 1. I put the 1 down there. Now comes. Would you mind opening up your palm of your hand, please? I would like to use that 2. Open it up. Give me that 2. You have it all enough. I'll put that 2 right there. Now, 7 to the 21? 3 times. That's right. 7 into 28? 13. Wait a minute. You have to prove this even better than that. You can prove it very easily by multiplication. You mean you want me to multiply it? No, not multiply. 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 All right. Multiply it. 7 times 13 is 28. Go ahead. Now, first, we got to put down a 13, right? Right. There's a 13. Times 7. Times 7. Right. 7 weeks times 13, right? 7 times 3, 21. 7 times 1, 7. 7 and 1, 8. And 2 carries. Now, wait a minute. I'm still not convinced. There's one sure way of proving this. One sure way, and that's by addition. You want me to addition it up? I want you to put 13 7 times on that wall and then draw a line and add them up. You want me to put down 13 7 times? That's right. Let's come out right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. What's the idea of spreading them out like that? Well, it looks like a flock of seagulls going to hit the electric poles. Now we're going to add them up, right? All right, go ahead. Here we go. 3, 6. Wait a minute. Let me do the adding this time. All right. Well, 3, 6, and then, just a minute, I will do the adding. Then there'll be no mistake. Yeah? All right? $28 here. All right? Now, go ahead. You had it up. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28.
Okay, fine. You're just seeing the creativity element in this particular problem. That how that this particular gentleman has come up with a solution that is novel, but actually that is just to give you a glimpse that how you can do that. It is technically wrong, but sometimes the wrong, sometimes a decision like this will prove right. Anyhow, we have a small announcement here. Mr. Harun need to speak to you.
Yes, it's just that before we proceed further, we would like you to give us feedback about this webinar. So a quick poll question. I'll pop the question on your screens, and you'll have to select an appropriate option to give your feedback. The question is, how did you find this webinar? The first option is excellent, then very useful, average, below average, or not useful. Can you please rate? Please select one of these options and then select submit. Okay, I'm giving you 30 seconds more. Those who haven't voted, can you please very quickly vote? Just take a couple of minutes. Select an option. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your feedback. To minimize this. Okay, let's resume the remaining part quickly, and then we'll move towards the question answer session. Okay, fine. Let me have a decision tree. A decision tree is the graphical representation that helps in decision making by showing the value of expected outcomes of decision under various circumstances. I'm just going towards a very simple example of a decision tree. So in this particular example, to buy soon or to buy later, this is one of something that we need to buy that costs you 100 bucks, 100 rupees maybe. And the thing is that if you buy soon, it will cost you this much, but if you buy later, then you have three different alternatives with you. And there are certain chances that something happened to the price. And there are three outcomes that you may have, and that is if you buy later, that the price is raised by 30%. It may be the case that there is no difference between the prices, it remains 100%, right? And there is a chance that the price is down by 30%. So this is actually the scenario, and the fixed cost associated with this particular buying is ₹5. So what will happen is that this decision tree will give you an idea that what will happen, that if you opt for a particular decision now and then, and what will happen if there is a probability associated with the change in the prices, so that you can make an appropriate decision based on this visual representation. So if you look at this particular part, so that we have three different options. So minus means that you are paying it out. So this is that has to be minus. So the first case is that price is increased by 30%. So if it is increased by 30%, it simply means that the 30 is added to 100. And then plus 5 is the fixed cost associated with that. And similarly, so 125 rupees you need to pay if you buy it later. So the second option is very simple. So minus 100 plus 5, that is minus 95 that you will owe. Then 30%, that is prices go down by 30%, so it means that it has to be 70%. So minus 100 plus 30 plus 5 is equal to 65. So 65 is the price that you will be paying if you buy it later. And again, these are the chances, these are the risk that is involved in that. It may go up, it may go down, or it is the probability that it is being associated, and that probability you assign on the basis of the experience that you may have about a particular other scenario that we have. Again, the experience and the knowledge is very, very important about such cases. There are certain probability that you may calculate that is called quantitative in nature. There are certain methodologies, there are certain methods by which you can assign the a probability, and there is something on the basis of which that is based on experience that you will assign a probability, and then you will calculate it and come up with the solution that what will going to happen or what should the course of action to be taken. And it also an idea that what this will the part of the decision analysis, that you need to buy something now or later. That the thing is that you are buying something. Now the question is, you will be buying now or later. That is the two course of action, and in that case you need to decide, and decision tree will give you a good idea that in a particular scenario what should the course of action would be. Then we have another example. You can have it from the slide. It is very simple and straightforward. And the last thing of the day is data, information, and decision making. Okay, data, information, and decision making. Very quickly, I will go through that part. We know we have the data with us. We in the data-driven decision model. Whenever we have the data is something that is that exists in certain time frame. It some has a value. It's a concept maybe. But if you have enough data, you will organize that data. When you organize the data, that data becomes information. What is meant by information? It means that when data becomes meaningful. When data becomes meaningful, this becomes an information. If the organization of data does not convey any meaning to that data is still a data, it is not an information. So the point is, you need to transform that data into an information so that it becomes meaningful. So the use of information is actually decision making. You make decision on the basis of information. If you have a good information, the quality of the decision will be good. If you have the wrong information, the quality of the decision will be not so good. So what we need to do is, we have to have a data that is properly organized in a manner that it provides you certain information. You build a context in that. So in that context, we will convey you the meaning. Once you have the information, you will decide on that thing. Once the decision is made, using the other technique that we have discussed in this webinar very briefly, once we have decided that this thing needs to be implemented, once we implement it, we have two outcomes of that implementation. Either we get a success or we get a failure. But in both the cases, we will get an experience. If we need to repeat that decision, and if it is a success, we always repeat that. And if it is not a success, then we need to change our decision. Whatever the case is, and that experience will give you a knowledge, that will lead to the knowledge, that will add it to the knowledge. And that knowledge is a key to make a decision. So that we need to do. So data, information, and decision making. We have the data with us, we need to transform, we need to organize so that we can convert it into information. That information will be used to make decisions. Once the decision is made and implemented, whatever the outcome will be, this will give you an experience, and that experience will lead you to the knowledge, and knowledge is one of the key components of your decision. Very, very quickly go through. Maybe we have certain point. Okay, and then once you have the knowledge, you use your knowledge with wisdom. We all have the reason, we have the capability to reason. If we have the knowledge, we can use it in order to use it wisely and come up with a qualitative decision that we have. And this is actually the data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. If the frequency of decision making is high, we have the greater knowledge about that particular thing, and we have the more exposure on that, and on the basis of that we make better decisions, right? And these are some of the simple steps you will be go through by yourself. It's very, very simple and straightforward. There's no need, I think, to discuss. Again, start with the strategy. Objective, you need to identify what should be actually that you want. Then you need to identify the business area where this should be implemented. Then identify your unanswered business questions. Identify your questions so that your data should be modeled like this, and find the data to answer your questions. And then identify what data you already have, and something collect the data and analyze the data, and present and distribute the insights and incorporate the learning into the business. So these are some of the points that are relevant and pertinent to the data-driven decision-making model. So I think if you have any questions, so please ask.
Typing in the questions, I'd just like to make two announcements. Number one, the presentation that we usually do, we'll share it with the participants. We will email it to them. And number two, the video recording will also be available on our Vimeo channel by Tuesday, since 14th is a national holiday in Pakistan. The video recording will be uploaded on our Vimeo channel by Tuesday. Similarly, the participation certificates to all the participants will be distributed again on the 15th, which is Tuesday. So please wait for that. If you have any questions to ask, fine. If not, your contact details and all, if you can put them up on the screen slightly.
Normally people to have my...
there might be new people.
Okay, I'm just giving you my email address. So if you have any question related either to this topic or the Excel or the MS Office stuff, you can always email me on this. Khurram at talent.org.bk. So this is my email address. You are more than welcome to put your queries, and I will try my best to answer those, either on this topic or in MS Office, PowerPoint and stuff like this, right? I thank very much all of you for your patience and for your right. Thank you very much.